Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice Radio. So today, we're going to be looking at Trumbeak. I mean, we're also going to be looking at Toucannon, but really, we're going to be looking at Trumbeak. That's right. We've got another one of those wonderful situations where the stage 1 is actually better than the stage 2. Although, to be clear, it's not actually that bad, Toucannon. I don't think Toucannon's great, and I don't think Toucannon's going to see a lot of play. I do expect Trumbeak to see quite a lot of play. But it's still kind of fun. Side note, we're not going to be talking about Pipipek, but I will show you the artwork, because look how beautiful it is. Anyway, they have been revealed over at the official Japanese Pokemon TCG website and translated by the lovely David Hochmann, who is, beyond wonderful. So starting off with Trumbeak here, we don't really need to talk about the basics, because it doesn't really matter, because you're almost certainly never going to actually be playing it. Yeah, the retreat cost of 1 is lovely because of a skateboard, and yeah, the resistance to fighting is great because of Buzzwole, but none of it really matters. The attack does 30 damage for a double colourless energy. I mean, to be fair, that's actually really low for a double colourless energy, especially when you're not hitting for weakness, but no one really cares. Because the ability, which is apparently translated as Mountain Migration, which is amazing, says this. If this card is in your hand, you may put it into the Lost Zone. If you do, look at the top card of your opponent's deck and return it. If that card is a supporter, you may put it into the Lost Zone. This does many cool things. First of all, and this is the most obvious thing I thought of when I looked at it, so let's just mention it, it's Jumpluff. We looked at Jumpluff the other day, a very interesting new card, and Jumpluff does 20 damage for each Pokemon in your Lost Zone for a single grass energy. And yes, it's a stage 2, but we talked about Skip Bloom and the ability. I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be lazy and not word it properly, but essentially you evolve into Skip Bloom, swap it for a Jumpluff from your deck, and put Skip Bloom and Hoppip into your Lost Zone. So in theory, you get all 4 Skip Bloom out, you swap them for 4 Jumpluff, you've got 8 Pokemon in the Lost Zone, you do 160, 160 is a key number. Firstly, 160 will often not be enough, or at least sometimes not be enough. Secondly, this plan, it revolves around none of the Jumpluff line being prized, all 12 of those cards not being in the prizes. Not that realistic, gonna be honest with you. Now, we did talk about Spinarak. That's got an attack for a single grass energy, automatic paralysis, automatic poison, then put this Pokemon in the Lost Zone. That's kind of cool. And we did look at Lost Mixer, an item card that lets you put 2 cards from your hand into the Lost Zone and then draw a card. But neither of those are amazing for our purposes. And go check out those videos. I'll link them in the description for more detail. However, Trumbeak is phenomenal in a Jumpluff deck. It's in your hand, you put it in the Lost Zone. You don't have to have a Lost Mixer in hand at the same time. You don't have to attack with it or any of that rubbish. And this is very, very much like Lampent in a Night March deck. You can guarantee not starting with it, because you just play Trumbeak here. Don't play any Pipipek, don't worry about any of that. Just play Trumbeak and you don't have a bad starter. Oftentimes, teching a stage 1 into your deck gives you a starting Pokemon you'd rather not have. Not the case here, because it's a stage 1, you can't start with it. You put 4 in your deck, that's an extra 80 damage for Jumpluff. And it means that stuff like Lost Mixer and Spinarak, you could probably even look at it and go, nah, I'm cool. It's not to say you won't play it, but now, between the Jumpluff line and Trumbeak, you've got 12 Pokemon you're putting in the Lost Zone. And unless you have like 3 Hoppips or Skip Bloom prized, you'll probably be able to build up to decent damage fast enough here. This I am liking very much indeed. But there is another use for Trumbeak here, and that's the Unknown Missing, another card we looked at, and again I will link this one in the description as well. And what this Unknown Missing says, it's got an ability whereby if your opponent has 12 supporters or more in the Lost Zone, you may choose to win the game. Just straight away turn around, announce that you win the game, and then go home singing and dancing. That's pretty good. Now look, this ain't going to win you the game. You cannot put 12 supporters in the Lost Zone with 4 Trumbeak. That's not how maths works. But if you've got other ways to put supporter cards in the Lost Zone, This will really, really help. I don't think you're often going to be using Trumbeak to win with Unknown Missing. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think that's on the card, because it's a card game. But I do think it is something to bear in mind, something to keep there. If you're making an Unknown Missing deck, Trumbeak's got your back. But you don't need to win the game with Unknown Missing, because most decks are playing 3 or 4 Guzma. And Guzma is a great supporter card. It's a gusting effect. We've all used them. I've commentated a lot of Pokemon trading card games, both by myself and for the Pokemon Company, as many of you know. And the amount of times I have literally just sat there and gone, he needs a Guzma to win. And then, when they don't get it, go, well, now their opponent needs a Guzma to win, is ridiculous. It happens all the time. And if you just discard one, well, that's no good. They're going to use Pal Pad to get it back again. But the Lost Zone is called the Lost Zone for a reason. When cards go there, they get lost. They can't come back. So even if you're not using Trumbeak to win the game with Unknown Missing, it's fine, because you might hit one of their Guzma and then it goes to the Lost Zone. Even if you just hit a Cynthia, that's one fewer Cynthia in their deck. What's going to be hilarious, and this will happen when you play Trumbeak occasionally, it's a top card of your opponent's deck. So there's going to be games where your opponent draws absolutely nothing and is thinking, come on, need to draw a supporter. You're going to drop a Trumbeak, put their supporter in the Lost Zone, and they're going to draw like a basic energy they don't need. It's going to be fun. Maybe you get rid of a Delinquent that would have absolutely wrecked your hand. Maybe you get rid of an Ace Roller that they were going to use to deny you a prize. There are many great things that you can do with this. It's great for Jumpluff. It's great for Unknown Missing. Honestly, it's just fun. Because you will hit supporters occasionally with this. And it will be hilarious. As for Toucannon, 140 HP, very low when you compare it to the other stage 2s at the moment, stuff like Empoleon, for instance. Retreat cost of 2, kind of awkward. Resistant to fighting, kind of good, Buzzwole. Weakness to lightning, not too bad. There's not that many lightning stuff around at the moment. But really, it's the attacks. And we're going to flick through them quite quickly because it's not the best card ever. Not terrible, mind you. 1 colorless energy, 40 damage, automatic burn. If this was on a basic, it would be a phenomenal attack. On a stage 2, it's fine. I mean, it strikes me as the kind of thing that'll be pretty cool in a pre-release. Good news is, burn puts 2 damage counters on between turns, so it's actually minimum 60, and something like a Zorua will be going down here. And burn can add up pretty quickly, which is quite nice. It's not a great attack, but it's alright. But the main attack is actually quite nice. Big Cannon, 3 colorless energy, but remember it's a colorless Pokemon, so double colorless energy, totally on the cards here. 160 damage. If this Pokemon evolved this turn, this attack does nothing. That's the killer here. Because the turn you evolve it, you can't use it. That gives your opponent a turn to Guzma it up and KO it. Or even just win the game. You might evolve this up and then your opponent just takes their last 2 prizes to win. So that's a bit of a pain. But 160, as we mentioned with Jumpluff, is one of the key numbers at the moment. 160 will get those stage 2s like Empoleon. And then other non-GXs like Solgaleo Prism Star, for instance. Then you add a choice band, and all of a sudden lots of GXs are going down. Buzzwole's going down, Rayquaza's going down, Tapu Lele's going down. I mean, you could play this with Shrine of Punishment, and you wouldn't even need a choice band to KO a Tapu Lele. Or you could play it with a choice band and a Shrine of Punishment. Now you're up to 200, and stuff like Sylveon and Lycanroc are going down. On a non-GX, because you can use Shrine of Punishment, 160 is amazing. It's really, 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 really good. Because you get the non-GXs that generally go up to 160, and then most of the good GXs at the moment are 190 or 200, and you're getting them with a choice band, and then you might need to add in a Shrine of Punishment here. It's a decent amount of damage. Honestly, Trumbeak's just a beat or two too slow. The free energy rather than just a double colourless on the second attack hurts it. The fact that it's a stage 2 hurts it. The fact that you cannot use the big attack the turn you evolve up into it hurts it. It's a good attack on a decent Pokemon. But it's just a little bit... I want it to be so much better than it actually is. And that makes me sad, ladies and gentlemen, but there's not really very much we can do about it. Though I've got to mention, awesome little side note here. The Meganium we looked at the other day, I'll pop a link in the description. The ability says that you can just evolve a basic on the field into a stage 2 in your hand, even if you played it that turn. So what you could actually do here is play the Toucannon line, drop a Pipipek, immediately evolve it into a Toucannon, and then pop Trumbeak into the Lost Zone to use its ability. I think that's kind of fun. I'm going to be giving Toucannon between 2 and 3 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies. That would be barbaric, because as good as the attack is, I just don't think it's going to work in the long run. But I'm going to be giving Trumbeak 4 Wassies. This is a good card. And it's not an every deck card. But if you're playing Jumpluff, it's phenomenal. If you're playing Unknown Missing, it's phenomenal. And if you hit one of your opponent's supporters, it's phenomenal. No, it's not for every deck, but it's good enough that I'm giving it 4 Wassies. But hey, maybe you disagree. Maybe you think, hey, you're home from work, Ross. You've just had a cuddle with your lovely, beautiful little baby daughter, and you're being a little bit too positive here. Well, in that case, the comment section is the place to challenge me. Go nuts. But remember the rule. Be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.